Welcome to the best football show. I am Brian Baldinger at Baldy NFL across all of social media. You can download this show on your free Odyssey app, wherever you get your apps. Like it, subscribe to it. I hope you follow. Obviously, it's been a big weekend, a huge weekend. We're now down to the final four. We started with 14. We're down to four right now. And it was we started Saturday afternoon in Kansas City. We went to Detroit, where we saw an unbelievable upset. In Philadelphia, in a snowstorm yesterday, started right at the beginning of the second quarter. It never stopped coming. And Saquon put on another display. And then it finished in Buffalo last night with the Bills hanging on to the final minute of the game. And so let's just kind of get into it. This is a live show. We're going live here. I'm here to take all your questions, insights, anything that you have. I don't care if you're griping, if you're celebrating, if you're nitpicking, whatever it is. I've studied all four games. I feel like I have a pretty good handle on most of the things that happen. So let's just kind of go through it. Let's start Saturday afternoon at Arrowhead Stadium, where the Chiefs pass rush, got after C.J. Stroud. I mean, they got after him. 8 sacks and 14 quarterback hits. 3 of those sacks by George Karlaftis, and all of them on turnback protection, where Dalton Schultz is asked to block George Karlaftis. It's not very sound, and it turned out to be a disaster. But Amenahu, Dana, Chris Jones, I mean, they feasted on the offensive line of the Houston Texans. And they did some good things. I mean, obviously, Joe Mixon ran the ball really well. That's what they wanted. I thought it had to be a Joe Mixon game if the Texans were going to win. The Chiefs did just enough offensively, leaning heavily on their special teams. The opening kickoff return, set up points with a 63-yard return. Obviously, the points that were left on the board by the Texans were way too many, whether it's missed extra point, missed field goal, blocked field goal, all those things added up. I counted almost 10 points in that 23-12 win by the Chiefs. And then ultimately, Mahomes to Kelsey is an amazing combination. One in the postseason we've never seen by any quarterback receiver. Kelsey catches his 20th touchdown pass of his postseason career. 20. And they needed it. And it was a third down play, and Mahomes is getting hit. Mario Edwards has him gripped. Somehow he stays on his feet, and he basically puts the ball to Travis Kelce. Kelce had a huge day. I think he had 7 catches, well over 100 yards, had the touchdown. But he also had the longest catch and run of the season, 49 yards, that set up the opening touchdown of the game, the 1-yard plunge by Kareem Hunt. That was pretty much the game. Chiefs defense on point. And so Houston bows out. They compete mightily. C.J. Stroud did everything he could. But I thought, and look, everybody wants to point to the 2 personal fouls against the Texans for hits on Mahomes. The first one I thought it was a little iffy, honestly. I could have, it looked like Mahomes was, okay, I know how to get this penalty. I know how to get it. And I'm not saying he flopped, but, he played into the rules, let's say. So, they were important plays, but they didn't decide the game. Pass protection breakdowns certainly played a part because the Texans outgained the Chiefs. They did a lot of great things. Ran the ball as well as they run it in a while. Mixon was awesome. Got the 1 touchdown. Anyways, Kansas City moves on. They take care of business. Then we went to Detroit on Saturday night. And it was really the Jaden Daniels effect. I thought Cliff Kingsbury called his best game. By formation and by motions, they constantly got Detroit out of position. Constantly. If you look at, let's say, the Terry McLaurin catch and run off the hitch screen, 58 yards. Like on that particular play, they've got stacked formation, stacked receivers outside the numbers. Anybody watches University of Tennessee play, that's how they play. It's an old college formation. All they're trying to do is remove as many people from the box as possible. Well, on the play, Brian Branch started cheating. All right. When he was cheating, he was blitzing. And it was really, they could have run an underneath outside zone to Brian Robinson to the right. But Jaden Daniels pre-snap saw Brian Branch blitzing. They didn't have enough people outside. They had 2 blockers out there and 2 defenders. They got blocks, and McLaurin hit the gas pedal. He went 58 yards. It happened like that pretty much all night long. Like they had the perfect game plan against the blitzes that Detroit came after him with. And they came after him all game long. Even Brady said at halftime, hey, like I kind of stopped some of this stuff and just play coverage. Just keep it in front of you right now. But they continued to come after him. And Jaden Daniels saw it pre-snap, got into the right play pre-snap, and then took advantage of it. And it was, and they played error-free football. And they ran the ball great. But Jaden Daniels, it's hard to even find a play where he makes a mistake in this game. And this is at Ford Field, the number 1 seed, the 15-2 Detroit Lions. Ford Field has never rocked like this before. He went in there and handled the atmosphere, the noise, the underdog mentality, whatever. He was sensational. He knew exactly where to go with the ball. I mean, everybody's raving about it today, but really going back and studying it, Cliff Kingsbury had a lot to do with it. Really put him in great positions. I felt, in fact, I texted Cliff. I didn't expect to hear back from him. He's a little bit busy, but I did text him with a particular play. And I felt like he was back at Texas Tech against, pick a Big 12 opponent, TCU, circa 2015 with Patrick Mahomes. I mean, that's kind of how it looked in some of his formations and some of his motions. So congratulations. But then on defense, I mean, it started with Dorrance Armstrong, right? Dorrance Armstrong, one-on-one, they rushed 5. He beat the left guard, got the ball out of Jared Goff's hands, and they recovered it. They got the fumble. Then you got Mike Sanristel, right? The rookie out of Michigan, who's basically a slot defender. That's what he was at Michigan, and that's what he was largely this year for the Commanders. Except, they've made some changes in their secondary. Obviously, they brought in Lattimore. They got rid of Forbes. They've made some changes. But now if you're in a 2-receiver set, Sanristel is an outside defender. And on the play to Jameson Williams, I mean, it's right at the end of the half there, and Jared Goff wants a big play, and Sanristel can't play it any better. Like, it's a skinny post. The safety's out of the middle of the field, and Sanristel undercuts it from being on his upfield shoulder, undercuts it beautifully, and intercepts it in the end zone. Would get another interception off the Jameson Williams reverse pass, which, like, I get it. Like, they've always they have these deceptives that they've employed all year long, and they've been really good at it. And this, they get the underneath handoff to Amon-Ra St. Brown. They flip it on the outside to Jameson Williams coming on a reverse, and you can see he's trying to get the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs. And honestly, Washington never bit. They weren't out of position. And it's a 1st and 10 play. So what you're coached to do, and I'm sure Jameson was coached to do this, but the game, the RPMs, the adrenaline's flowing, you're trying to make a play. But the coaching point is you run the play on 1st down on the other side of the 50 so that if it's not there, you just throw it away. If it's not there, throw it away. Go to 2nd and 10. And he forced it. And Sanristel was there and intercepted. And it's unfortunate. It's a hit or miss play. It's feast or famine is what that play is. Everybody has some reverse pass in their playbook. And everybody's coaching point is pretty much the same. If it's not there, throw it away. And he didn't. And so there's just too many interceptions, fumbles. Dorrance Armstrong with the fumble recovery right there. It's just it's a great play. It's a great play and sets up their scores. And so Detroit got smacked really good, give up 45 points. That's kind of what Detroit was used to scoring, 25 points. The other point is in these losses, we sometimes just talk about the teams that won, but it is hard to ignore just how good Jahmyr Gibbs is. Just hard. Like that kid, I know they like to split their carries, and David Montgomery was back from injury, and he's a team leader. But you can't almost not take Jahmyr Gibbs off the field. He's just that dynamic of a player. Receiver, protector, call plays for him. He's a great player. I don't want to talk about that game and not talk about Jahmyr Gibbs. The other point is you got to talk about the offensive line of the Commanders. It was like Hogs 2.0. I mean, Biotish back in there at center makes a difference. Allegretti, Wiley, Cosme got hurt. Backup goes in there. Scott goes in. They played really well. Played really well up front. And Jaden Daniels just sees the field. And the thing that's amazing, and I've said it on this podcast before, the things that's amazing to me about Jaden, I get it. He's a rookie. He's young. The guy calls the entire game from the line of scrimmage. They rarely huddle, okay? He gets everybody lined up. Cliff calls the play into him. He's like looking at the script, and he gets everybody lined up. And if the back, Brian Robinson has to get to his other side, he gets them lined up. If the tight end's got to go in motion, Zach Ertz got to go in motion. You saw Brady the other day, wasn't sure if Zach Ertz was on the field, and it was a touchdown to Ertz off of a motion, away motion, and then, curled in front of Melifanu, and Jaden hit him perfectly. He does the whole thing from the line of scrimmage. It's amazing. So I broke those games down basically by Saturday night to get ready for the Eagles and the Rams. And I remember I was in here early in the day, and I was going outside to get something to eat. It was like 1 o'clock. It was about 1 o'clock. And I saw some people. I'm at NFL Films. I'm studying the games. So I walk outside to go get something from my car, and I see the snow is beginning. It's like a sleet. And it was like right on cue. Now, it wasn't, to start the game, it was fairly dry. But the forecast said snow. And it started right at the beginning of the second quarter. By that point, the Eagles had already run for a 44-yard touchdown by Jalen Hurts on the opening drive of the game. And before the first quarter ended, Saquon Barkley went 62 yards. On an OT power, just following his line into the hole, where Mekhi Becton takes the middle linebacker, I think it was Roseboom, and just knocks him into smithereens, and Saquon goes 62 yards. So they got off to a great start. Jalen Hurts was 15 of 20, didn't turn the ball over, took a lot of sacks. I think they took seven, maybe 8 sacks in the game. Probably too many, and he took a safety. But he had 3 drops, including one by Devontae Smith down the middle of the field, where he got popped by, I believe it was Cam Curl, and they called, the helmet-to-helmet hit, personal foul. So he got the first down, but that was a drop. They got a drop on an in cut to A.J. Brown, all right, early in the game on a little curl behind the underneath defender. He dropped one in the very corner that could have been a touchdown, perfectly thrown by Jalen. People were criticizing Jalen Hurts hard for not getting rid of the ball, doing a lot of things, taking sacks, taking a safety. Okay, it's fair. He didn't turn the ball over. He had 3 of his 5 incompletions were drops. Now, he also missed A.J. Brown on 2 of passes. 2, one was an in-cut, one was an out-cut, where he did miss him. But that's basically his day. Everything else was pretty safe. Saquon was the story. Saquon in the run game was the story. Again, Gainwell was a part of it, but all 3 backs, they chewed up a bunch of yards on the ground. And that's what they did the first time to the Rams. That's what they did this time. It's like, they're like the Yankees, okay, with Aaron Judge and all their home run hitters. When the Yankees are hitting home runs, you don't think about the strikeouts. You don't think about anything else. They put up a big number. They hit their bombs. They win games. The Eagles, I believe, have to be better in the passing game. I thought the Rams defensively played most of the plays really good, but they gave up 3 runs that netted 3 touchdowns and 184 yards. It's tough. It's tough for you to give up those kind of plays. The Eagles have home run hitting ability. Saquon was amazing. So that's that. But I thought the Rams offense missed on a lot of opportunities. I thought they had a lot of chances. Certainly Jalen Carter was a wrecker. Nolan Smith with a forced fumble recovery by Zach Bond was huge. Darius Slade played great, defended a bunch of passes in the game. They lost Quinyon Mitchell in the first quarter. Isaiah Rodgers had to go in the game. Fine. Jalen Carter punches the ball out of Kyron Williams' hands, and Isaiah Rodgers runs it down to the 5-yard line. Like, they created their field position and their turnovers. But I thought Stafford was really pretty good. Obviously, they had chances all the way to the end. They couldn't finish it. 28-22. It's a nail-biter. I thought they broke down a protection on the last 2 plays. On 3rd and 4, I thought the right guard left too early and the center left too early, and Jalen Carter came up free and sacked Stafford for a 7-yard loss, creating a 4th and 11. And a 4th and 11, he wants to hit an outcut to his receiver, and here comes Jalen basically doing the same thing to the same protection. 2 plays in a row. I thought they broke down up front. And then they missed on 2 when it was 13-10. They had a 3rd and 1 and a 3rd and 2. On one play, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson blew it up. Didn't do a good job of blocking him, and they had to settle for a field goal. And then on another play, on 3rd and 2, Josh Sweat, blew the play up, and they took a negative play. They had chances to stay on the field. They couldn't convert 3rd and 1 and 3rd and 2. Those are tough. Those are tough to do. Let's get to the nightcap right now with the Ravens losing to the Bills. And, everybody will point to the 2-point conversion that Mark Andrews bobbled and ultimately didn't catch at the end of the game that could have easily tied it up 27-27. Who knows what the Bills do with, a minute to go. Maybe they go down and score. Who knows? Maybe they go to overtime. I was thinking that'd be all right with me. It was an entertaining game. But I thought the Bills or the Ravens went for 2 earlier when it was 21-19. They scored, and they got the ball to, was it Isaiah Likely for the touchdown, to cut it to 21-13 to 21-19, and they went for 2. Maybe it was to Bateman or Likely. Anyways, they go for 2 there. Now, it's still the 3rd quarter. It's not even the 4th quarter yet. But they decide to go for 2 to tie it up 21-21, and they get the perfect play. They anticipate man coverage. They get man coverage. They get Isaiah Likely coming across the middle. Taylor Rapp, trips and falls. He's face planted. And Lamar he didn't put enough air on it because Matt Milano ended up tipping it. And it was an easy 2-point conversion. They got exactly what they wanted. They got the rub route. Likely's wide open, nobody there. And Matt Milano with his left hand tips it with the finger. They could have tied it up there. They could have gone for 1 right there, made it 21-20, and ultimately tied the game at 27-all with an Justin Tucker extra point. That's neither here or there. We see teams go for 2 in that situation all the time. You can't beat them up on it, but it was there to execute. But ultimately, that game, and I know the turnovers by the Ravens, they turned it over 3 times. 2 fumbles and the interceptions, and the Bills took care of the football. And that's the difference in the game. I mean, the first interception by Taylor Rapp, on the play, Bateman is running a seam route to Lamar. And Taylor Rapp is in the middle of the field. So he thinks Bateman is running the seam, and he throws the seam. Got great protection. Derrick Henry with blitz pickup on Matt Milano. He's got clear vision. Except as soon as he releases the ball, Bateman's running a 7 cut, and Taylor Rapp's just playing center field. He gets an easy pop fly. So that's bad communication between the receiver and the quarterback in the 20th week of the season. Okay. Then you get a high snap later on in the game from Tyler Linderbaum, but Lamar is a great athlete. He gets control of it, gets control of the ball. And simultaneous, the Bills had blitzed Damar Hamlin off the edge. So once Lamar gets control of the ball and he turns around, he recognizes that Damar Hamlin's coming at him. All right. And he tries to, I'm not sure what he tried to do. He tried to obviously avoid him, stiff arm him. And then he's got both hands on the ball and he drops the ball. Like, I'm not sure what happened there. And then that's when Von Miller picked it up and scooted 40 yards, set the Bills up for a scoring situation. And then obviously halfway through the fourth quarter, 24-19 game, Lamar finds Mark Andrews in the middle of the field all alone. The free safety on the play had slipped. He's on the ground when Andrews catches it, and here comes Terrell Bernard, punches it out. I mean, I think Mark Andrews, I think they put it up last night. In his career, he had lost one fumble. He doesn't fumble. And he gets the ball poked out, and Terrell Bernard not only pokes it out, but recovers it. And the Bills go down and score a field goal. So the Ravens really killed themselves, with a lot of this, with the 3 turnovers. And I'll give the Bills offense a ton of credit. Josh Allen, obviously 2 rushing touchdowns, 4th down conversions. They formationed the Ravens into certain looks. They protected Josh Allen against a defensive front that was second in the league in sacks. Deion Dawkins, David Edwards, Connor McGovern, the cyborg at right guard, Spencer Brown, Alec Anderson, the 6th man. They played great. They played great up front. All the backs. They used all 3. All right. Davis, Ty Johnson, James Cook, Josh Allen, all 4 guys. Like, they get after it in the run game and protection. They're really good. They're well coached, very well coached. They don't make mistakes. You don't see mental mistakes from them. You don't see breakdowns of protections. Like, they played as a real unit. And it was impressive to watch. It's a good defense by Baltimore. On the opening drive, Josh Allen made 2 great plays on the opening touchdown drive. He hit Shakir for a 34-yard running right down the middle of the post against a Tampa 2 look where Brandon Stevens opens up to the number 3 receiver, which just happens to be Shakir. So his job is to carry the seam down the middle of the field. The safeties are widening to the numbers. So there's literally nobody in the middle of the field. And Josh Allen reads it correctly. And Shakir runs right by Stevens. Lamar put it up there, 34 yards, big chunk. And then on 4th and 2, they went empty. And they spread the Ravens out. The Ravens played that look with Josh Allen and shotgun in a 5-man box. So they had a beater for that. They pulled Deion Dawkins from the left tackle position up on Malik Harrison, the middle linebacker. Got a great block on him. And Josh Allen on 4th and 2 went for 7 yards, kept that drive alive, then would ultimately score from the 1. It was great. It was a great game plan. Great game on both sides. Joe Brady was awesome. They were really good defensively. They got the takeaways. And in the much anticipated game, in a game where Lamar kept him in it all the way to the end. And everybody wants to, Mark Andrews, the GOAT. Okay, he dropped the ball and he had one poked out, but there was a lot of other opportunities for that offense to put up numbers. And let's give credit. King Henry had a great 3rd quarter. But other than that, he didn't do much. Other than that 3rd quarter where they scored 9 points or 10 points. Other than that, or 9 points, I'm sorry, because they missed the 2-point conversion. They scored 9 points on back-to-back drives, and they looked really good doing it. Other than that, the Bills' defense outside of that last drive was outstanding, just outstanding. So that's the best. That's really my recap here, and we'll start looking ahead to Sunday. Obviously, Buffalo going to meet Kansas City. They met earlier this year. Buffalo won that game at home. There'll be a rubber match for the Eagles and the Commanders, 3 o'clock on Sunday at Lincoln Financial Field. I don't think many people saw that coming, but they just played. They just played a month ago, week 16. They just played, and on that game, there was 10 seconds left. I remember it like it was yesterday because I announced the game. But in that game, Jaden Daniels threw a winning touchdown pass to Jamison Crowder with 10 seconds left in the game to win it. And they turned it over 5 times that day. So Sunday afternoon, Lincoln Financial Field, Washington and Philadelphia. The rubber match, Philadelphia won the first contest. And then at 6:30 in Kansas City, Buffalo and Kansas City, the AFC Championship game. So let's see. Seemed like a lot of miscommunication for Eagles offensive line this week. Weather and Rams talent, no doubt a factor of any cause for concern. I didn't see any miscommunication with the Eagles. I thought they played great. I saw the Rams do some things defensively that gave them some problems, but I didn't see breakdowns up front at all. I thought they played a very clean game. They had 1 or 2 penalties in a game offensively. The passing game has to be a little bit better, but they also didn't turn the ball over. And they had 3 explosive plays. So I don't see that. Who knows what the weather's going to be? They just played a snowstorm. We saw guys slipping on the field. Didn't seem to really bother that many people that much. Ball security was pretty good, especially for the Eagles. So Jaden Daniels just obviously played a perfect game indoors. Not sure if he's played in a snow game before. I've got to go research that. I doubt at Arizona State he did. I doubt he did at LSU, and I don't think he has so far this year with the Commanders. But I thought the Eagles' offensive line was very good. Landon Dickerson, Mulatto was good against Jared Verse. Verse is a hell of a player. He's a great player, man. He's got a bright future. He plays the game hard. You saw him chase Saquon Barkley basically 80 yards across the field all the way to the end zone, that 62-yard touchdown run. He plays the game hard, plays it the right way. Has been doing it, honestly, since the opening game of the year when Detroit and the Rams met on that, I think, Sunday night game. But he's been outstanding all year. They've got a lot of good young players. Kobe Turner is a great young player. Cam Kitchens is a great young player. They've drafted well. They developed their players. Fisk looks like he got – Braden Fisk looks like he got hurt yesterday. Went out of the game limping pretty badly. But, no, I thought Diablo, I honestly thought the Eagles played a very clean game up front. When you John Kelly, why do the fans and radio commentators have to pick on Hurts passing? Josh Allen only – look, here's the thing about Jalen. I will defend Jalen all day long. He threw a touchdown pass to A.J. Brown, the corner of the end zone. Can't throw it any better. A.J. bobbled it. Okay, it happens. He threw a dime down the middle of the field to Devontae Smith, and he got blown up by Cam Curl. Oh, I'm sorry. I think it was Akella Witherspoon, and they flagged it. All right, and he dropped the ball, but they flagged it. You know, those plays, he's well over 200 yards. Here's the thing. If you take the Washington Commanders game out of Week 16, where he got hurt and concussed late first quarter, maybe, Kenny Pickett came in. If you take that game out, since the bye week, when they were 2-2, Jalen's 12-0. And in that streak, he's thrown 16 touchdowns and 1 interception. Like, he's not putting the ball in harm's way like he did earlier in the year. He's giving his guys a chance. He probably can make some quicker decisions on just getting the ball to the check down a couple of times. I thought he could have done that, but he wasn't looking at him. He was looking someplace else. Fans just, they want to, look, I'm not bashing fantasy football, but, they want to see 300 yards passing. They want to see 3 touchdowns. They want to see Mahomes-type numbers. look, their defense is playing great. The kicking game was really good outside of the missed extra points. He knows his role right now. Him and Saquon, the way that they're running the football, their big plays come out, their big explosive plays continually come out of the run game. And that's okay. So I'll defend Jalen. I think he's doing fine. He's in another championship game. He's now 4-3 in the postseason. Got a chance to go to another Super Bowl. He's only 4 years into this thing. He's 26 years old. All right. There was a snow game yesterday. Wasn't the best conditions to throw it. But he's not going to throw. He threw an in cut to Jalen or to AJ Brown, right past the hook curl player, and AJ dropped it in the first quarter. Okay, those things happen. It's not. You could have better stats. He was 15 of 20. He missed 5 throws, and he had 3 drops. All right. They march on. We'll see. Anyways, Michael, who do I like on Sunday? Well, I'm going to go back and rewatch all these games. I'll have a pick by the time we get to Thursday or Friday. I'm leaning towards the home teams right now, but that's not to say that I could change my mind. I want to go back and watch Week 16 with the Commanders and the Eagles. I want to watch Jaden against Vic Fangio's defense that day. I want to go back and rewatch that Buffalo-Kansas City game earlier in the year in Buffalo. Maybe even watch one of the playoff games between Buffalo and Kansas City over the last couple of years. So I'll hold my pick. Anyways, that's been the best football show here today. Appreciate the questions. We'll be back here again later this week, and we'll get back to it, talking more football. Maybe we're talking national championship game as Notre Dame and Ohio State meet in Atlanta tonight. Should be fun. Riley Leonard, some good players on both sides of the ball, big-time players, both sides of the ball. Might have something to say about that game tonight. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me, and I'll talk to you real soon.